it. So we're going to record this session. You probably got a little notice from Zoom so you can rewatch the session in a few days once we post it onto the YouTube channel. So welcome everybody. My name is Suzanne Stone and I'm the Chief Program Delivery Officer with 4-H in Alberta. And welcome, I see some familiar faces from a couple of weeks ago to the 4-H Alberta Multi-Species Judging Learning Series, the beginner session. So we're so excited to have, looks like 23 people and more joining for our session tonight. So this session is led by our Lakeland College team, and I think maybe they're having a little technical difficulties, but they will be here soon to lead us through our next step of judging. So I have a quick few slides. We're going to start off though by everybody unmuting themselves, and we will do the 4-H pledge as a group. So if you're able to unmute, we'll do the pledge and then you can go back on mute. Okay. So I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to good loyalty, better living, my club, my community, my country, and my world.
My country and my world.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. I enjoy that pure chaos. It sounds crazy when everybody does the pledge on Zoom. So thanks for joining in. Just a quick reminder before we get started is today is the deadline. So March 1st at midnight, our online registration system is still open for everyone to register for the 4-H Alberta Provincial Judging Competition. This competition is March 10th. And it is hosted or will be at Lakeland College in Vermilion. They are our hosts for that. If you are looking for information on this, it can be found on your member profile. So sign into the 4-H Alberta website and the provincial 4-H judging will be an option. You can register as an individual, or you can definitely find 3 of your closest friends and register as a team of 4. So we are looking forward to reaching over 100 4-H members. So make sure you get your registration in tonight for this. It is a Friday, March 10th. And so that means if you have school that day, you do get to miss school. And it is open to all ages, junior, intermediate, and senior. And it's a great experience. And you'll get to tour a little bit at Lakeland College as well. So this competition will provide you an opportunity to practice your judging skills. It will provide you some challenges to judge different species, as well as your communication skills. You will be able to learn or put in play the things that you learned on this this judging series. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions, tonight is the night that you want to ask for sure. So details about the competition, like I said, you can register as an individual or a team. If you want to register as a team, you do need to put those 4 people in at the time of registration. You won't be put on a team if you register as an individual. So you can reach out to our programs team. Tracy Dietrich is our lead for this program, but you can reach her at programs@4hab.com, and I'll pop that in a chat a little bit later. So there will be prizes to win as an individual and as a team, and everybody must register in order to compete. So we do have opportunities for senior members. I think everybody on here is most likely a junior and intermediate or a first time. There is opportunities for our senior members. The top judges from this competition will compete in the fall at the Canadian or Western Canadian judging competition held during Agribition in Regina. So just a quick snapshot of what the day looks like is it will start nice and early at 8:30 with registration at Lakeland College. At 9, the judging will begin. juniors and intermediates, you'll give reasons right after the class, so you don't have to recall those quite as much as the seniors. Seniors will judge in the morning and will do all their reasons in the afternoon, and that will be 8 oral classes for the seniors. There is only oral reasons, and if you need help with that or need a scribe, we definitely will look after you if you need. And then in the afternoon will be an opportunity to do some fun things around Lakeland College, and it'll wrap up with a banquet at 5:30. Just a reminder that the deadline is today. So I see that our presenters are here. I'm just going to quickly run through our 4-H Alberta sponsors, and then we'll get to the learning pieces. So 4-H Alberta cannot offer a lot of these programs without our partnerships with our sponsors. Our Diamond Clover sponsor is the Alberta government. Our Emerald Clover sponsors are Alberta Recycling, AltaLink, ATB, Calgary Stampede Foundation, CPA, Charter Professional Accountants Education Foundation, and UFA. Our Gold Clover sponsors are AFSC. Silver Clover sponsors Brant, Save On Foods, and Wolf and Stream, or Wolf Carbon Solutions. Sorry about that. Our Bronze Clover sponsors are Alberta Beef Producers, Bayer, Gas Alberta Inc., Lakeland College, who is our host for these learning series as well as our provincial judging competition, MCS Net, Nutrien, PV Mart, Viterra, and our 4-H Canada national sponsor is also Bayer. So we definitely would like to thank them. And if you're ever in those stores or hanging out and know anybody, make sure you say thank you, because we definitely couldn't do a lot of our programs without their support. All right, so I see a screen called Lakeland. Where did you go? I think I just made you guys a co-host. So I would like to welcome members from our Lakeland College judging team. I will let them introduce themselves, what program they're in, how long they've been judging, those kind of things. And they will get to presenting our second session of our beginner judging workshop. So welcome, guys. You should be able to share your screen, and if you need anything, I'll monitor the chat and I can help you out if you have technical difficulties.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Suzanne. I'm Dylan Fuller. I'm from Lakeland College. I'm in the AST beef major, and I've been judging for several years now in different competitions through my years in 4-H, and then I've moved on into different competitions and down to Regina with the 4-H Alberta competition that I competed in last year. So yeah.
I'm Julianne Warner, and I'm in the Ag Business program, and I've been judging. Well, I was in 4-H for 13 years and have done a couple competitions, like bigger competitions. So yes. We'll probably now share our screen.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Here's the button.
So as they're getting their presentation up, I just want to remind everybody, we're going to leave the chat to answer some questions that Dylan and Jillian ask, or if you have any questions as well. So I love the chatter in there, but it's kind of sometimes hard to navigate. So just make sure that you're using that to ask questions or answer questions. Do you guys figure that out?
Suzanne, do you know where to share the screen? What button we would be pushing?
So along the bottom where it says mute and your video and then participants, there should be a share screen.
We just have a security chat. Oh, yep, we found it.
Found.
Okay, and then it'll give you the icons of what you have open on your desktop. And if you're like me, you'll have a million of them. You'll want to pick your presentation and then it should share. If you have it open.
Does that work?
Oh,
okay. Share preferences. Yeah. Yes. We're trying to get this working here.
We're not the best with No.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
okay.
that's with technology.
Learn to do by doing, right?
And last time it didn't come up like this. Just minimize.
You don't have a screen on there yet, right?
No, not yet.
All participants.
So it
No.
should be just a share screen and then
It's green, isn't it, Dylan?
Yeah, that's what we're.
And so when you click on it, doesn't a whole bunch come up, or what comes up?
Well, we're hitting share screen. And
Yeah,
it says
and-
one participant can share at a time. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Advanced sharing options. That's all that pops up for us.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not really showing us very much here.
do you have your presentation open?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Is
we'll eliminate that guy. Let's see.
you open our PowerPoint Teams?
We just got to get this uploaded into documents. We can't upload it through Teams. That's what the program is. That's what we're.
Oh, gotcha.
'Cause
Are you
it-
able to download it and email it quick? Is that easy for you to do?
We're just gonna open it here. Just
I
Okay.
can't get rid of this.
hit that little button up there.
Not the red one. Not the red one.
So in the meantime, I
Okay.
like hearing from where everybody's from. So we have Brinley from the 9 Mile 4-H Club. Hi, me is from John Ware.
Oh my God.
So if you want to put that in
Yeah.
the chat, you can put your 4-H Club in there.
when Suzanne was asking if you could just you could email it to her and she can put it up if you want, if that's possible, you guys.
You think that that'll work a little bit better?
Yeah,
It
you
might
could do
if
that.
you're
Okay.
trying to download it to Teams or something.
Yeah, we'll send the link. What's your email there, Suzanne?
I'll pop her in the chat there.
Okay. Okay. The chat. This one right here. Where'd you go? Right here. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
We are having tons of difficulties here.
That's okay. Did you find my email?
Yes, we sure did.
Okay.
Why isn't it copying?
You may just have to type it.
Okay, we'll just have to type it. You type it. Okay, you're a faster typer.
So while we're doing that, I think some of the questions that we had last week were around structure of reasons. Does anybody have any other questions after they listened last week that you could also pop those in the chat, and then while we're figuring out our presentation here, maybe we can talk about some of those.
Work. What in the, oh my. We have your email on here, but it's not letting us
It's
send
not
it.
letting us send it.
Uh-oh.
Oh my Lord.
It's okay. Mm.
This is actually the first time I've actually done a Zoom call with share the meeting or share a screen. So this is the first time I've ever done this.
Okay, open system preference. See, when we hit share screen, it
Microsoft.
says open system preferences. And when we click that, it does nothing.
Hmm.
Like last time we were able to get it going.
I'm just gonna check my settings here.
Yeah, that's the old one. That's last week's.
Is it under desktop 1?
It all has warning things on here, so it won't let us.
All right. Were you able to email it?
Nope.
Nope.
We were,
It says we can't email it and share it out of the group.
yeah.
Oh, could you email it from here?
Yeah. We're getting the hang of it.
Okay.
We're getting somewhere.
All right. Just looking at the clubs in the chat, we're kind of all over the province. We have Crestemere, Gladys, Milk River, Claresholm, Merithorpe, another Crestemere, Elselmo, Willing Workers, Canuso Lake, East Lacombe, few from 9 Mile. Awesome.
That's one of my minutes.
All right. There's a great question is what 4-H project is everybody doing? So I see some sheep, beef and sheep.
That has one.
Sheep. Awesome. Archery.
At
Uh,
4HAlberta.com.
uh,
Judging. Awesome. A judging project. Lawnmower. Hopefully you're getting that all souped up ready for summer. How about
okay, Suzanne, we just sent it.
I will check my email here. So as I'm doing that, everybody could maybe just say how many years or how many times you have been to a judging competition or a workshop. As I'm waiting for my email to come up.
Oh my God. Should be going right now.
All right, this is your first, second, 3 to 5. Awesome. Second. It's probably a big file, so it's gonna take a minute. Oh, there we go.
Oh, perfect.
Ooh.
Okay, let me just open it. It looks beautiful. Good job, guys. It's opening and then I'll share my screen. So you'll just have to let me know when you want me to flip. Okay.
For sure. Yep.
Okay. You guys all ready to go? Done a judging work before. So we definitely have a beginner group. So lots of questions are definitely welcome. You can let me know if you see it.
Okay, perfect. There we go.
Awesome. Way you go, guys.
Okay. Well, today we're going to be talking about terminology and judging practice because we have a couple judging classes with within our presentation, and we will talk a little bit about judging. And I think our class is in boots, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So we have a work boots kind of class there, so we can judge when we get some questions about the class, and we can judge it the way that we have. And I think we also have a practice class of heifers as well. So with that, want to switch the page so we
And
can.
this week we'll be adding on to what we learned last week.
Mhm. Yes, for sure. I think we have done the 4-H pledge.
We did do the pledge. Yes, we'll skip that guy.
Okay, so there.
What we will be learning, the parts of the animals and like the correct terminology when you're judging. So you can like, because every animal has different terminology based on its structure and stuff. And then we'll be practicing judging some classes, like Dylan said.
Yeah, so like just to add to, just go back there just for 1 second. Sorry. Just go back to the one slide behind there. Back one. Okay, that's fine. It's okay. Yeah, we'll just go back. Just go back to the cow there. That'll be all right. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so just to add to that of what Julie said, yeah, so when we're going to be talking about horses and cows, there's different structurally different terminology that we can use, especially within steers and heifers with their condition kind of a deals. So with heifers, we will use condition, capacity, muscle. Other than steers, when you hear your achievement day judges talk about finish on your steers, back fat on your steers, because we're going to be talking about the carcass weight of these steers and not as much as when we talk about the females. Then also when we talk about horses, they're a little bit more finicky on their structure and the way that they move and the way that they get out and move and all that. So now we can move on to the cow there. Okay.
Beef cattle parts. You can see number 1 is the tail head. Number 2 is the top line. Number 3 is your flank. Number 3 is your neck. Number 4 is your flank. Number 5 is your heart girth. Number 6 is shoulder. 7 is underline, and 8 is pastern.
And I think 9 is the hoof. I think that's what it should be. Kind of the 8, 9 are kind of within their back leg of their hock to their pastern kind of a deal. And so when we talk about all of these terminologies with beef cattle, we can see that these are kind of the major parts that we can talk about when we judge a class of beef heifers. And I know probably in your achievement days, or even if you come to the judging competition here in Lakeland, you'll have to do an oral reasons card or an oral reasons presentation to a judge. And see, these are kind of the topics and things that we can talk about when we're looking at beef cattle, especially when we're looking at this heifer, this female heifer that we're talking about. Number 3, with that neck. We want her really long necked and very feminine out of that front, other than a steer where we want a little bit more finish, a little bit more fullness to it. So it adds to their fat cover over top of their top line and moves all the way down. So they have a little bit more fleshing ability when we get into the carcass weight. And so these are kind of the things that we talk about when we're judging cattle on an oral reasons card, and also in your written reasons when we're going to be talking about a little bit more into the written reasons of how we can compare animals within your class on writtens and all that, for sure.
You don't want to just focus on the one body part. When you're looking at the animal, look at everything. Just because she has a nice neck doesn't mean that she's the best cow. Look at her whole body.
Yeah, like look at, especially with heifers, we want lots of rib, lots of underline to them. They want a little bit more of a angularity to them, as a bigger term of a word that we can say when we're analyzing cattle. and we want a little bit bigger heart girth. So exactly what Julie said, we just look at lots of different things and different species of animals when we look at these. So we can move on to the horse. There's Suzanne. Perfect. Julie.
See, like a horse has different parts. There's your withers, your barrel, your stiff, your hock, your fetlock, your girth, knee, pastern, throat latch.
Yeah, so there's different words for kind of the same parts of an animal when we analyze these two different species of animals. Like the withers on a horse could be classified as their shoulder blade on a cow or a heifer or a something like that, like the withers. And then there's also a shoulder of a horse that we talk about their head and neck attachment when we talk about horses as well. And there's a lot more terminology that we see in horses on their feet and legs, like the knee, like the cannon bone and the pastern, as what we have on cattle as well. But there's just a little bit more of a critique and a little bit more fine tuning when we talk about horses, especially on their feet and legs and the way that they move and all that. So we gotta remember and maybe take down some notes of what we've been talking about with horse parts other than cattle parts. Because if we were going to be talking about, let's say we were doing an oral reasons presentation on cows, and we said that the barrel of this cow was really good. Well, technically that's a different term for a horse. So we just got to analyze and think about which different terms go with the horses other than cattle, and different terms like the girth, like the heart girth of cattle versus horses, and the stifle with their, the stifle in horses is technically the flank of a cow. So all of these different terms can contradict themselves with different parts of the animal when we're going to be judging in an oral reasons card or even writtens.
And the judge is going to watch for you using the correct terminology for each animal. And if you use, like you say, barrel instead of something else, like with a horse, he's going to acknowledge that and show that you've looked at a horse and you've studied it.
Mm-hmm. It gives you extra marks on those cards when we're judging horses if we know the terminology. And especially with you juniors, we just got to analyze and maybe knock or crack down on some new terminology with cattle and horses, so we get better marks and do really good in these competitions. I think we can move on to the next page.
Tips and tricks. Take notes. Taking notes is very important because, like, once you get into higher level, like seniors, at the end of the day, you've looked at so many classes, you can't really, it's hard to remember. So if you look back at your notes, it can it reminds you of what you saw. And look at animals from far away and close up, because sometimes you'll see something far away that you may not have seen close up. And same if you look close up. And comparing is very important, because if you want to explain.
Yeah, so comparing within animals, if you have a very tight placing with your first and your second place, we can compare these of what you see of the cattle of that first place has a better structure to her than the second one that comes in two. And when we can compare the second place, that might be a little bit more be a little better out of her neck than the first one. So we just compare those two to differentiate your placings when we place those cards on your written cards or even on your oral reasons.
Write down what you notice about the animal, like IDs, like maybe it's tag number, if that cow has a white face, if could be color, any features.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like when we're just like Julie said, it's all on IDs. So when you walk up to a class of horses, let's say horses, and there's a chestnut out there, there's a bay horse, There's a gray horse, there's a Palomino horse. You make those IDs with those different breed characteristics. So then when you're telling your oral reasons judge that that it tells them and gives them an understanding of what the animals actually look like, of that you're talking about the Palomino, the spotted up animal, right? And like if there was a beef class of heifers, of a white-faced one and 3 other black ones in the class, we can talk about that white-faced heifer very heavily, as she was the one ID that stood out to you. And when we're talking about maybe pigs, we can talk about the bigger one in the pen. Like there might be in this competition, I remember last year when we did the judging competition here at Lakeland, there was one really big pig and then one really small one. So then we talked, I made that an ID of pen 2 with the bigger pig in there. So that's kind of an ID with that. Maybe different spots, maybe it has a ripped ear or a little cut out of its ear, something like that. Just those different IDs that we can differentiate from a white-faced heifer to the black heifer, other than saying throughout your reasons, throughout the written reasons and your oral reasons, just all heifers. We make IDs about that.
And it helps trigger a picture in your brain. So like at the end of the day, you say, oh, the big pig. You're like, okay, then I remember. And then you can visually see that animal in your head a lot better.
Mm-hmm. And those taking notes is very, very heavily when we get into the senior competition, with taking notes of different competitions. Will get you to do all the classes 2 hours before you actually say your reasons. And you have to take notes and get a picture in your head and get your comparisons with your animals of how you place them and your different IDs of how you do it. And one of the biggest things that I have to tell all the juniors out there is trust your gut. Trust your gut. If you go into that class and you think that whiteface should win that class, go with your gut and go with it. Don't look at your friend's card, or if you looked over your shoulder, don't look at your friend's card and think of what they placed them. Think of what you placed them, and trust your gut and trust your logical thinking on what your class should be. We can go to the next page, I think. Perfect.
So here is what your judging card will look like. At the top, you can see the club name, and the class you're doing and the age. And then you have a place to put all your placings, like which one you place first, second, third, and fourth. And then if it's written reasons, you'll have a spot underneath where you can write your reasons out to hand to the judge.
Mhm.
And if you're given only oral reasons, you'll just pretty much get a card that with your name and like first, second, third for you to place them. Yes,
and I think I told some people when we had it here in person learning activity here with the UB the judge, the biggest thing that I learned when I was a junior was remember to put your name and your class on your card. I know it sounds silly, but when we get into different classes, when we come into seniors with Angus bull calves and Charolais bull calves, and they're all bull calves, we got to differentiate those classes for your actually when you're placing those cattle, and your oral reasons as well for your with your placings and your score as well as your big part with that. So that's one of the things that I would like to really tell you guys, to make sure that you're judging the class of what has written on your card, and make sure you're judging the right class of what you've written on the card as well. I think we can go to the next page. Oh, okay. So I think this is our practice thing, I think. Suzanne, I think the next page is the judging thing, isn't it? Right? Yes, yes, it is. Okay, so now we're gonna get, after we've kind of talked about IDs and different ways that we have terminology. I know it's a different class with work boots, but I would like maybe for you guys to maybe, I don't know how you want to do this, Suzanne, if we talk on the chat, or do we chat in the chat room?
They could do either, or if there's a brave person that wants to unmute, they're more than welcome to do that as well.
Okay, yeah, for sure. If anybody has wants to give it a shot and maybe try and click that. I think GW Murray. I think we have it 3142.
But that's me.
Okay, do we have maybe GW Murray? Do we want to talk about it, or how you placed them?
Who's audio?
I see Kinley said, you want to share how you placed them?
Got several different placings of how we're going to place them.
Do one of you want to tell us why you placed them that way? Don't be scared to share your answers, because as long as you explain why you place it that way, it helps you.
Go ahead, Matthew. I see your hand up. Matthew for Biggerville Beef.
I put two ahead of one because two is nice for your show, and if you wanna really dress good, you would probably need cowboy boots to impress the judges, to show that you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, for sure. That's a really good reason.
Anybody else?
And it looks like lots of people had 3 or 1 kind of on their top placings. Looks like it was a very easy top end for everyone, as 3 and 1 were kind of the tops.
I like that, because right now, I definitely would pick.
I think I see I'm just scrolling down here. Avery, 3124. Do we want to tell us why you placed that way?
I placed 3 first because, like, your feet wouldn't get really muddy.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And 2, they're just more like a fancy type. I don't think they'd be very good for working. And I placed 1 second because it's not as good as 3. You could definitely get mud in your shoes, but it's not fancy.
Really good reasons. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Awesome, you guys. That's good that we've made kind of our top two assumptions for our class. And that's a good thing to differentiate when we're talking about on our oral reasons card or our written cards. We kind of find our top 2 or even our top place 1 that comes to the top really easily. And then we kind of compare and get a little bit tighter placings when we get into 2 and 3 and 3 and 4th place, right? And so that's really good. That's awesome, you guys. That's awesome. Suzanne, I think we have one more class to do. Yeah, here. Example of beef heifer class. Julie, you want to explain?
So how would you guys place these? Would you, and look at the whole structure of the animal.
I know it's hard to get a little bit of a far away look and a close look, but type in the chat of what you guys would place these heifers.
You guys can do the same thing. You can put it in the chat or unmute if you want to share your reasons. Maybe after they're done this class, maybe you already have this planned, is if you could give your reasons why you would place them like that, Dylan, with using the beginning, the body, and the end sentences.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll give it a couple minutes for a couple people to tell us their placings, and then I will place them. Looks like everybody's got a couple top placings like I would do it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, Suzanne, do I go ahead and tell my reasons on these now?
You can get them to say some of your reasons, and then
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
that I place the class structure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you want them to ask them or tell them their reasons a little bit first?
Sure.
Okay.
I think that's good. There were some really good reasons about the boots. I can't wait to hear about the ones about the heifers.
Yes.
Does someone want to go?
Oh, I see a couple hands up. Just on our screens here. Go ahead.
Or does
Jordy, do you want to go? I see your hand up there.
Yeah, sure. So basically I placed 1/2, but it's because she's a bit more longer around her top. She may not be as thick as some of the others, but she's not as straight-legged, and her hearth girth is kind of filled in a little bit. And I placed 2/4. It's because this heifer has is not as straight-legged, but she doesn't have like as good as a top line. But I believe she just needs to be just to have a bit more groceries into her. And I placed 4/3 is because this heifer has a better top, maybe a little bit better top line than number 3. Number 3, I just like to see her a little bit more thicker, but that's okay with how she is. And I placed 3 in last place. It's because she's a good heifer, but I'd just like to see a bit more thickness added onto her. But besides that, she's a good heifer.
Mm-hmm. No, those are really good reasons. Really well done. Really well done. That's awesome.
And I liked how you looked at the whole animal, not just the one, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And I like the little word, I believe. And that's a really good word to accentuate yourself when we're talking about oral reasons as well. That's really good. Awesome job. Anybody else want to go?
Here you go, Jordy. I see Sophia's hand up.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, we'll just give Sophia a minute. If you want to unmute Sophia, you don't have to turn your video on. You can just give us your reasons that way. And then we'll go to Cassie and Haley. It looks like they have their hand up. Okay. We'll go to Cassie and Haley. Oh, I see Sophia unmuted. Good job. Go ahead.
I placed 1/2 because one looks a little bit more filled in, and she has a better top line than 2. I placed 2/3. Oh no, 4/2 because 4, she looked a little bit more filled in than 2. But they look pretty close. 2 has a little bit of a longer neck though. I placed 2/3 because 3 looks a little bit younger than them all, and she looks a little bit smaller. So I think if she had some more time to grow, then she would be a better heifer.
Those are some really good reasons.
Yeah, those are really good, really good. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Cassie and Haley, you guys can go.
I did 1, 2, 4, 3. Because I found that number 1 had lots of muscle and he stood really straight. 2, I also thought he had some muscle and he also was one standing straight. 4, I find that he also had the muscle and he was standing straight. And 3, he's a little he's smaller and he's smaller and he doesn't have that much of muscle.
Those are some really good ones too.
Mhm.
And mine is 1, 2, 4, 3. 1 has a lot of muscles. 2 and 4, they're really close, but it looks like 2 has more muscle than 4. And then 1, it looked like it doesn't really have that much muscle.
Really good reasons. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Way to go, guys. That's really brave to thank you for sharing for sure. There is a set in the chat. Says I placed this class of beef heifers 1, 4, 2, 3 for the following reasons. I placed 1/4 because 4 is more bigger and has nice structure. I placed 4/2 because it has a good strong neck. I placed 2/3 has a longer stomach, and I placed 3 last because I would love to see some more weight and a thicker neck. For those reasons, I placed this class of beef heifers 1, 4, 2, 3. Good job structuring your reasons there. Way to go.
Yeah, that's really good. Really good.
Do you guys want to hear Dylan and Jillian's reasons?
Dylan's an expert at these.
Yeah. Pictures are sometimes hard, but it's really good to look at lots of photos to see what you like and to compare them for sure.
And when you're judging a picture, just only if you can't see in the picture, then don't talk about it in your reasons.
Mm-hmm. And like, I know some people talked about structure and stuff like that. Yes, we can see a little bit of structure in here, but with my reasons, I might be not talking as much about structure and the way that they set them down to the ground with their pasterns and their leg set, just because you never know of how those pictures were took, right? So I'm just going to be analyzing them as they're shown as me right now. So I placed this class of yearling heifers 1, 4, 2, 3. I started the class off with the 1 heifer just because she's just a little bit more genuine in terms of her underline and overall muscle shape. I think this one still is enough neck extension and have enough femininity up out through her front end and through her head and neck attachment. I think this one's comparative to my number 4 heifer and my 2 heifer. I think she's comparative with muscle shape and muscle pattern. But then when we move down to the 4 heifer, I think this one's a little bit more stylish out of her head and neck. I think this one's just a little bit more angular in her type than the 1 heifer that wins. But I think she's just a nickel better in terms of underline and presence when we analyze this one on the side profile than the one that comes in 3. That will be the 2 heifer. I think this one's the longest bodied in the class. She's the longest necked out of her shoulder and head neck attachment, but I think she just is not as genuine as those 2 females that start out my class through that underline and swoop to her belly. She still has enough mass and shape to her, but she's just not as angular and genuine through that underline. Then we come down to an individual that just is outpowered than the 3 heifers that come above her. I think this one's still a long-bodied individual, but I think she just needs a little bit more mass and center rib and be a little bit more genuine through her head and neck attachment and through her underline. And then another thing that I would like to change about her would be just clean up a little bit of that navel a little bit. So for those reasons, I place this class of yearling heifers 1, 4, 2, 3.
And if you notice in his reasons, he used a variety of different words that helps the judge stay interested in your reasons. And you should always remind them of the way you place them. So always say like your numbers before and after, and sometimes like even during. That way they know what animal you're talking about throughout.
Yeah, that was really good.
And you can probably go to the next slide.
Next slide.
Dylan's had lots of practice with his terminology. So going back to the beginning of the presentation, definitely it's important to know your terminology for each species, but that comes with a ton of practice.
Yes. Yeah, so there's the practice class 1, 4, 2, 3. Yes, that's how we place them. I think that's.
I think
was there another page after this slide here?
It's just questions.
Yeah, any questions for us that anybody has for us?
Oh,
Brooklyn. Any questions? Anything in the chat?
I don't see any in there. I'll just stop my
Should
screen.
your animal be shorter?
It depends. It depends what your class is. It depends on what you are looking for. If you are looking for maybe a shorter animal, or if you're looking for longer females. So like with that class of heifers, we had a little bit difference. We had we had 2 longer type ones and 2 shorter ones. So it's kind of the way that you preference it and the way that the class kind of sorts themselves. Like it's not that we want them this way and we don't want them this way. It's just on maybe quality and the way that you look at them, for sure.
anything else?
I don't see any other questions. Do you guys?
No.
So just a quick reminder, we did record this session. We will cut out our technical difficulties so you don't have to watch that again. And it will be on the 4-H Alberta YouTube channel. And you can actually Watch the advanced, beginner, and advanced as well, as if you want more, you can replay this one and the one from a couple weeks ago, as well as our last year's judging series is also on the YouTube channel. In the link or in the chat, I did put a link to our judging resources. It'll help with that terminology that we spoke about tonight. So just about every species in there, there's a ton of information. Maybe don't print it on your home printer because you'll use up all your mom's ink and paper because it is a really big book, but you can filter through that. And we really do hope to see you on March 10th at Lakeland College. You'll probably see our awesome volunteer presenters there, either judging or volunteering or moving livestock of some sort, because the Lakeland College judging team does host that event. And definitely, you guys, I give you a great big kudos for coming out and learning tonight. This is where you start, juniors, intermediates, and even first-time seniors. This is where you start to learn how to judge, and it will take you into your college and university days as well, and you get to travel a little bit and have more opportunities. And I can't stress it enough. The more you do it, the better you get at it, the more practice that you get as well. So let's give a round of applause for Dylan and Jillian for coming out tonight. Lots of thank yous, learned a lot. Thanks for the presentations in the chat. And again, make sure you check out the recording and hope to see you on the 10th or out in your district and region. There's lots of competitions across the province as well. So again, thank you Lakeland College for hosting, and we will see you soon, guys.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you again.